Hey everyone, welcome to my channel. In today's video we're going to dive into the beautiful and calming art of playing the Native American flute. Whether you're just starting or looking to improve, I'll cover some of the basics to get you started. So grab your flute, let's take a deep breath, and let's begin. First things first, let's get to know the instrument. The Native American flute is unique because it has two chambers. One chamber directs your breath to a flue, or airway, and the other is the resonating chamber, where the sound is created. Most flutes have 6 holes for playing notes, but some might have 5. Don't worry about perfection. Playing this flute is more about expression and relaxation than technical precision. Step 1. Basic finger placement. Let's start with finger placement. Use your index, middle, and ring fingers on each hand to cover the holes, while your thumbs support the back of the flute. Make sure each finger covers the holes completely to avoid air leaks. They can make your notes sound airy instead of clear. Like that. Beginners sometimes may struggle to cover the holes fully, but it gets easier with practice. I remember when I first started, that was one of the hardest things because it was always sounded like. That's why it's important to keep the holes completely covered. Step 2. Breath control. Now for breath control, start by blowing a gentle, steady breath. Think of it as sighing into the flute, not blowing too hard. A steady, soft breath will give you a clean, calming sound. Avoid blowing too hard because the sound can become shrill and lose that peaceful tone. Like that. Keep your mouth relaxed and remember, the sound comes from consistency, not strength. If you're just starting, try practicing long, steady notes without worrying about finger placement. Just focus on controlling your breath. Step 3. Playing your first note. First, we'll start with all the holes covered like this, and you'll play a steady, smooth flow. Then, lift one finger at a time, moving from the bottom to the top hole to create different notes. Each note should flow smoothly into the next. An important thing to remember on a 6-hole flute is you'll always start with keeping this third hole from the top covered. Like this. You could play one breath at a time, or you could play one steady breath through the whole thing, like this. It's really however you feel like playing. Make sure you really take your time with practicing all your notes first before you go too fast, because you want to really make sure that you have each hole covered so that it sounds smooth. Once you're comfortable with the basic notes, try creating simple melodies. You could start by playing a basic scale, or you could also explore improvisation. Unlike other instruments, the Native American flute encourages self-expression, so don't be afraid to play around with different combinations. It's all about feeling the music and letting your creativity flow. Alright, well that's pretty much the basics, but before we wrap up, here are a few common mistakes that most beginners make. First, remember that breath control is everything, so avoid overblowing. Second, make sure each note is fully covered. Even a tiny gap can change the sound. And lastly, don't rush. Playing the Native American flute is about finding peace and connecting with the music. Relax, breathe, and enjoy the process.